Hi, my name is Sally Barnard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery, and with the help of my spirit guides, it's time to trust your intuition. Sit with me and call in live 888-994-4995, Studio A. And now onto the show. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I am live today. We've had recordings for the last, well, I'm alive, but we had recordings for the last 2 weeks. So I just wanted to read part of a poem that I have in my book. And I like this. I think it's appropriate because a lot of people are asking what's going on right now in the world with all these things flying up in the sky. Wonders of the Universe, it was called. Oh, how we wonder what is beneath each star. A light, a cloud streaming down. We look up, and they are still there. What do they behold? What lies within this great universe? How many times we talk about planets? Do you remember? Yes, we do. Look beyond ourselves. Think back in time. Afraid? Do not be. Just turn back time and you will within that which is, and that which will be. Have no fear, for that is what makes us forget. Enjoy this journey. It is all but an illusion. Can we understand? It's difficult. We're still human. It does not seem to make any sense. Relax. Enjoy the ride. It ends so fast. Enjoy this lifetime. Go in peace. Zena. Well, I wrote that quite a few years back. I had no idea at the time what I was writing about. I'm understanding much more now on my journey. So let's open up to the audience in the studio here, or any phone calls, 888-994-4995, Studio A. Thank you, Freddie. I do know that now. I put it in my memory bank. So here we are. Let's open the show because I do need questions.
So Sally, I got a couple of questions that I have. And I'm under the assumption that today's show is about alien life, alien perception.
Yeah.
And so the first thing I want to ask you is, why would aliens want to be in contact, and why are they doing it now?
Love that question, Freddie. And they're here ready to answer the questions for me. Okay. I think now is really important for them to begin to start showing themselves. They have started, but more people are taking note now because our world is in chaos right now. I truly believe, although it's controversial, a lot of people say maybe they are all nice and maybe they're not. I do believe that the majority of aliens that are coming here to help us are friendly, and they're seeing what we're doing to our planet. Because I only hear what I see on the news or listen to, certain podcasts or programs of people, but it seems that a lot of these sightings are around nuclear sites. So I think they're trying to give us a message. Don't mess up. Do not mess up, because if we mess up other planets too.
Is that why you think they're interested in humanity? And why nuclear sites?
Well, because that could destroy us, and they know that. And I think they're interested in humanity. With my take on it from the messages that I get, it sounds silly, but we are them and they are us. I believe that they've been here before. I believe that they're on our planet still. And there are many, many people walking around us that we don't notice what they're doing, but they are doing the work.
But they come to us as humans?
Yeah. And when they're on this planet, because otherwise they'd stand out. But they're coming from all these sightings that we see. I truly believe that, it's not all UFOs. I think it's partly, it's a cover-up. I don't really like to talk about it too much, but it's kind of open now that people are wondering what it is. So I believe that this has been happening for many, many years. But right now we're seeing a lot of sightings. And as I said to Steve, because he's not sure, just none of us can really prove this right now, but it will be proven. Why? For the first few months, I believe, you were seeing them all the time. Did they suddenly go away? Did we suddenly stop talking about them? So even if that happened, that's proving something. They showed their existence. I'm not saying they're all that. I'm sure some are drones and some are reverse technology. But right now, we have stopped kind of talking about it a little bit. So suddenly for a couple of months, everyone's talking about it. Suddenly it all stopped. Either way, it's suspicious.
Interesting.
Well, I got a question because we visited Mars. Matter of fact, we have a rover on Mars. And they're on both sides of Mars, the dark side, the light
Right.
side, everything in between. So if there was anything in Mars right now, we would be the UFO.
If we, yes, that's a very good, yeah, that's very interesting.
Um,
But they know what, the difference being there though, Freddie, is they know what we're doing. We don't know what they're doing. But to look at it that way, absolutely, yes.
Well, the Kepler Space Telescope, Kepler, that NASA has up in space. Do you know how many planets they've discovered since it's been up there that they think has life, habitable planets?
I think there's, I'm going to say within the thousands.
Over 4,000.
Yeah, that's, I mean, this is just the feeling that I get because I do get many messages about this. Yes, absolutely. Do they have life? Yeah, they have different forms of life. Actually, a good program to watch really now that people are getting much more interested is Star Trek because it goes to many places. There is a federation too that that kind of answers the questions. That's out in space somewhere too,
But
the galactic.
But the interesting aspect is them coming here is no different than us going to Mars, Saturn. Recently, we just passed a probe that went by the sun. And it was millions and millions of light years or whatever away from the sun. But it was just far enough that it didn't get cooked. And they went through it, and all sorts of information was sent back. So I guess the question is, how do you think, how are they making contact with us? Is it radio signals or other means?
Look up in the sky. I mean, and there's been many sightings over years. I mean, they talk about in the 1940s. It's been very hush-hush. And to an extent, to be fair to whoever's, hiding all this information, there would be absolute chaos. They've got to start to show us a little bit now. They call it, I think, a soft disclosure. So gradually that we're training our own minds because we've been taught since children, there is nobody else but us. So gradually they've got to open our minds up. If they had done it like in the early 1940s, there was no internet, there was nothing. So the communication had to be word of mouth, basically. But many people were abducted during that time. It went into the newspapers. But to find articles, today I'm sure you can, but at that time they couldn't.
Well, if you take 100 people, you start one sentence, and everybody whispers the same sentence over the next 100, the story would change. The sentence would not be anything near than what it started out with. So could it be that all of these stories that we've been hearing since time has changed because there was no way of communicating like now? Do you think that's changed the vision?
Well, it's more open today because we have a way of expressing, like even me on my show here right now. I can talk about this. So I don't know who's out in the audience listening, but they are listening. And that person who's listening who has an interest is going to pass that on to somebody else, same way. But all they have to do is to tune into this show and they can hear me. However, many years ago, we couldn't do that. So yes, the story probably did change a lot, but we have more facts today. We have more ways of getting the first part of the story, not the end part of the story after my conversation might be next week about what I discussed today that could be totally different. But they have a way to check me. They can go, not just me personally.
But Sally, why wouldn't they just land and let's get this over with?
Because there'll be chaos, Freddie. Think
According
about it.
to who?
Because they need us. I believe that that's what really should happen. I would love to see that. But the chaos, I mean, there's so many people still that cannot even understand that we're not alone. They're going, what do you mean we're not alone? They have their own way of thinking. I'm not going to use the word brainwashed, but we've been told to feel that way. So anything different in anything in life, you have to introduce it slowly. Well, they're getting to a point that they've been introducing this style now because it's even on regular news. I say regular, on the news programs. On Netflix, there's a great program that I just watched the ending of that again. It's showing you that many people have been abducted, including myself, because I wrote about this 17 years ago where I was visiting other planets. I took a chance in doing that.
So then explain to me why you were chosen to be taken and everything else, and somebody else wasn't. What is the difference between you and somebody else?
That's very difficult because I really don't know the answer, but the only answer that I can give is that I had an open mind and I had no fear. So and it took me to be quite in the middle part of my life before this even happened. It probably may have happened before, but I was ready to receive this information. Not everybody is, but once it's opened up to society, to people saying, you know what, you're definitely not alone because here, there's proof. More people they can't deny it. The main thing is to show the proof, actually, because I wasn't making anything of this up. But today, it's more provable that I have done this. For myself, too. I'm saying, what in the world am I going? But I had a mentor, which is Aldo Adamir in my book, who gradually showed me that these things are possible. I probably if I had no one to talk to, I would have gone crazy myself, and it was happening to me, but I opened my mind, and I have done over 20 years now. I've learned an awful lot. They still come to me, I get messages, and I'm quite open to talk about it today, and I'm not scared. Being scared takes away a lot. The fear takes away a lot, because first of all, they're not going to necessarily inform you if you have fear, because you're talking to someone that doesn't want to hear. I want to hear. I don't mind being abducted. I mean, I say to myself, okay, this is great, it's an adventure, but I need to pass on what I'm saying. 9 out of 10 people may not believe this, but if they show themselves, they may start saying, you know, as you now are understanding a little more, there's nothing wrong in not believing it. I didn't believe it. But so much has happened to me that there's no way I can deny it. I'm not making this up. It's absolutely 100% true. And the more I listen to programs, which I hadn't done so much in the past, because I don't want my mind to hear what has happened to other people. And that's what Aldo did with me. It's better that I come out and then I hear the validation. And my guide did that to me. He never led me into questions. I asked him and he gave me the answers, because I'm saying this has happened to me, that's happened to me, and then he'd explain what had happened to me. It was more real.
There are places like South America where you have the glowing lights and all that. There are places that you obviously cannot be there. There are places that you can't go and witness this, so you have to listen to accountabilities of others who have been there. The question is, do you believe that what they're showing you is real?
Yes, I listen today. I'll listen to anything, like you've mentioned a few things. I'm happy to listen because it's more validation for me today. I'm not making this up. This is what happened to me. And to see other people coming forward and giving their accounts of what we saw on the Netflix show of what was going on. This has been going on for years and years and years. They're just beginning to open up. And I have my own theories on that, because the world is changing and more people are believing and wondering what we're not just here to have a life. We're here for a purpose to have this life, to learn, to discover. And that's opening up much more, including reincarnation. Most people I speak to today, I always ask them before I tell them anything, because I don't want to offend anybody or scare them, but I always say, do you believe in reincarnation? And 9 out of 10 people are saying yes to me, or they're very open to it. So I've seen it change over the years, because I meet a lot of people here.
But that's different than aliens.
It's different, but it's a different way of thinking, Dawn, and that's where it comes into the same category. If you believe, you can believe in aliens and not believe in reincarnation. You can believe in reincarnation and not believe in aliens. But it's opening your mind up. It's opening a much broader scope of what you're beginning to discover. And once you start on that journey, there's no time limit. It could take you a year, it could take you a day, and it can all flood back. But at least you've opened your mind to different things.
Have you received any messages from the aliens on spiritual world, environmental concerns, or the future?
Yes, I have, and I think they are. And in fact, I even write that in my book, way before we were having these conversations, that they're not here to harm us. They're here to help us, because and whether they want to help us or is for their own being, it's okay, either way. They don't want us to blow ourselves up with nuclear weapons, because it's going to affect, and I didn't know anything at that time about this, but I'm writing, it's going to affect the atmosphere. It's going to go into what we would call space. So, and I do believe that a lot of them are friendly. I never had a bad abduction. I mean, to come forward with this sounded ridiculous. It doesn't sound so ridiculous today. I was abducted and they were very nice to me. That's the only way but I wasn't scared, you know.
But have they said to you, this is our concern for humanity, this is what these environmental concerns are going to be. There's global warming. There's, if you believe they helped build the pyramids, and
Well, they have the technology to help us. And I believe that I think today it's proven they have what they call reverse technology, where they've come to visit us and some have crashed. I don't know the whole story on this, but I do believe many have, and they've taken that technology. So even in the sky, if there's things flying around that don't look like we've seen, whatever it is, they had to have got that technology from somewhere. We've advanced tremendously in the last 50, 60 years. Think about how far we've come. Have we done that on our own, or have we had help? My answer to that, absolutely, is we've had a lot of help, and they're still doing that.
on the technical advances.
Yeah, absolutely, because they'll come forward and say, what's reverse technology? Think about it. Where did they get the thing in the first place?
What about these? Maybe it's all through alien technology.
It's a lot to do with it.
Or like you talk, remember in Star Trek you could like talk to your watch or beam me up? Now we have vMix calls all over the world.
Absolutely.
And again, I don't put the technology to the side. I get it. And even the Teflon pan that is used to cook on came from a space shuttle that was 15 years ago. This way they got the intelligence to use it and do it. But my question still remains. All of this is true. But why in the world don't they just come out and say, okay, here it goes. We're here. You know we're here. We can't even hide the fact that we're here.
Because it's a cover-up. I would say openly, yes, please.
But who's covering it up?
Many people, Freddie, many people in power.
Do you think there would just be mass chaos in this world?
I think there's more mass chaos now without
It's top secret. It's top secret. Only they're having a little problem now to keep it top secret. There are many people behind this. Many people. There's something called the Secret Space Program, which is openly on Gaia.
I laugh. 2.5 years ago, a madman in Europe decides to invade a country, and nobody can do anything about it. That, to me, is madness. And if you're going to tell me that there's a ship that lands, I don't know, in my parking lot and says that they're willing to talk to us, I don't think that's madness. I think that's advancement.
And that's you, and that's a lot of people. But they've chosen to hide this for many different reasons.
When you say they, is it them?
It's many people.
Or is it our people in charge? Because I don't think our people in charge can stop it.
Well, they've managed to, because they infiltrate many different companies, governments. I mean, it's hard for me to come out with this. It's only what I'm saying. And, a lot of people won't even touch this subject. But I truly believe that there is a cover-up.
All right, then I go back to the original question. What is it that these UFOs, aliens, other beings, whatever you want to call them, what are they trying to teach us?
To teach us to, first of all, they don't want to harm us. We're harming ourselves.
That's not a teaching.
No, but they've got to teach us how not to harm ourselves. First of all, it's got to come from us. If they show that there's a different way of living, I don't know. I'm not an alien, I don't think. But if they show us a different way of living, how to love one another, how they have planets where they've advanced enough that they don't have wars, that they don't have nuclear power, they're helping us with technology. I'm absolutely 100% sure. But we've got to use that technology in the right way. They can help us all they want. If we don't want to use it the right way, it's not going to be any benefit to anyone, including us. So they're trying to come, and I think they do. They call people like light workers that are here to say, what is this chaos? This is ridiculous what we're doing. Think about war. Why in the world? It doesn't matter where you're born, but because you're born, you have to defend your territory. It doesn't matter. We're all here in this big universe here. Let's be peaceful. I think they're showing peace to us. They're showing us how to be peaceful. It's not easy. We've gone crazy.
Chasing little green men around is not peaceful.
Maybe they're not green.
They're all they come in all different colors, Dawn.
just
Big, short, big eyes.
Chasing something that gives you glimpses is not peaceful.
Well, having said that, the majority of them are
Conspiracy is not peaceful.
Well, this is where the other side comes in. There's sides to this story. Yes,
okay,
of course
what's the
there
other
is.
side?
Okay, but this is very controversial, so I'm not going to go into it. But I
Controversy
understand
is not
it.
peaceful.
No, because I'm saying the majority. I never said every one of them, and I will not say every one of them, because not everyone is there to help us. They're here to control us. They're here to control us too, and they very much have succeeded. And it's another whole long
So you're
subject.
talking about UFOs are here to control us?
No, the people that within the power of wherever
Government?
they are, of the government. And, it's hard to say this on the air because I'd be happy to.
So the
what I know.
powers that be are controlling us not to learn the truth?
Absolutely, 100%. But not every one of them, because people will come forward and more people, and I was talking to Steve about this as much as he may want to listen, is that today, do you know why it's more open? Because there are whistleblowers that are a lot older today and they have nothing to lose. They're out of their jobs, they've been in power, they've seen what's happened, and they're whistleblowers that are saying this is what's going on because they only have maybe 10 years to live. They don't care.
I may not be as smart as an alien or a fourth grader or a fifth grader, but if I am from another planet and I know that I am superior in thinking and in being able to outrun planes, trains, and automobiles, the stuff that we have, if I know that I am above that level, I land and tell you I'm here. Unless I want to be hostile and make you my, I don't know, dominant whatever. If that's the problem, then I understand we have an issue. But if that's not the problem, I still don't know why they don't just come down.
It's both sides to this, Freddie.
Give me one side.
The one side is they're trying to show themselves. We don't want to believe it. There are a majority of people that do. My God, look up into the sky. Look what's happened. You have to have that open mind to even understand that something's going on. Now, the other side, there are many aliens amongst us here too that don't want us to know.
Why?
Because there's many reasons. If we suddenly think we're greater than what we are, we're controlled, okay? We're very much controlled here.
So it's fear of being dominated?
Well, the ones that don't want us to know, maybe we'll take some of their whatever their purpose is away from them. I'm not saying that's going to happen because I think that's very difficult to do anyway. That's just my belief. It's what I feel and what I've told. Can I prove any of this? I'm going to say no. So if anybody's listening, I don't know the whole story. I just know what's come to me.
And I'd like to know why certain humans are selected in getting gifts, things that other humans can't do.
It's all up to us. I mean, I don't know. I obviously chose to. I can only go by what my friend Aldo or Adamir in my book told me. It's the same person. That he came in at a year old. He was reading a newspaper. His parents thought he was crazy. He understood. He knew about past lives, previous lives. He knew what was going on in the universe. He knew all about aliens. He'd gone to many different planets himself because he was able to astral project and also do viewing, remote viewing. So I knew right away that this was real because I'm sitting next to someone that was real. My time to open up was when I met Aldo, and he knew that. I hadn't opened up before that. I was getting many messages, but it wasn't my time. I needed someone to validate that for me. I think we have to break for a commercial, but I love this subject. So please go nowhere. Thank you. I'll see you back on the other side.
We'll be right back.
Of this show. My story starts at 4 or 5 years old. My name is Sally Barnard, and I was born at the end of the Second World War, in the middle of an air raid siren going off. My parents were in a movie theater, and my mother went into labor. My father ran out of the movie theater, but there was no cabs to be available because everybody is running for cover. However, they found one, and the taxi driver was given the address to take my father and my mother to the hospital. As my mother was in labor, about a half an hour, I arrived at exactly midnight. I think I was fed messages at a very early age. My parents used to like to play cards, and they had a card game every like Wednesday or Thursday night at home when I was a baby. And I actually said to them one day, why do you keep waking me up at night? The card game is waking me up, and I can't get back to sleep so quickly. And they looked at each other and they said, we're not really waking her up. They were quite away from my bedroom. And they called in a psychic to say what in the world is going on. And the psychic said that I'm getting many messages that are waking me up at night. I thought whatever I was experiencing, other people were experiencing too. You don't know until you realize that you are different. Many things were happening to me, things that were unexplainable to me. What I had dreamt was happening. I could sense many things, and the things that I was sensing were coming about, but something was going on. I will explain to you everything. You're ready.
A true story, Call Me Zena, is the telling of Sally Barnard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came into the U.S. in 1979. A mother of two and a grandmother of four, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the third dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest into art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed a paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail on how she is able to astral a project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life and direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today, authorhouse.com and amazon.com.
Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Barnard, and you can find my book at authorhouse and amazon.com or visit my art on my clothing in my boutique at artbysallybarnard.com. Now back to the show. When I was in the other... Hi, we're back. We're talking about having no fear. I have no fear, so bring on your questions. I will answer what I know.
All right, Sally, some people believe that aliens are part of a larger cosmic family or spiritual hierarchy. Do you have any insight into how that might fit into the spiritual or the universal plan that we all talk about?
Yeah, absolutely. It's no different to here on Earth. We have all different people. We have more people knowing what we're talking about. We have some that don't know anything. In the spiritual world, it's exactly the same. There are higher people on different levels of vibrational energy, different dimensions that know more than the ones in the lower dimensions. We're on a very low dimension here. So they're the ones that want to discuss this openly. They can only discuss it with people that want to hear, and this is part of the problem, because people do not want to hear this, that have been trained not to ever listen to this. So it's no different in the spiritual world. Just because you're now in spirit, it doesn't mean that you get it all. I don't know the answer to that, because eventually I guess we on this plane, we go on to other planets where what we know is more beneficial for us to learn. We're on a continual learning streak here.
So even the aliens, do they come in within our spiritual realm? Is there one spiritual realm, or are there multiples?
Oh, there are multiples. I mean, there's an astral plane. That's where we go at night when people say they're flying, which I talk about astral projection. We're on an astral plane. We just don't remember. The whole thing is we don't remember where we've been. So if you start wanting to remember and open up, so many things, that's what happened to me. So many things start happening. I'm only seeing more because I've raised my vibrational energy more. I can see more. So anyone that's raised that vibration can see and feel. They're going to understand what I'm talking about. Otherwise, someone on a higher vibration, if I haven't reached that, I won't know what they're talking about. But I've got to that far in this earthly plane.
So obviously, if you've been introduced and you've been given this information and you know it and you see it, and you live with it every day, then obviously the object of the game is for you to pass it on.
That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm here.
But passing it on doesn't mean that you listen to what other people tell you to say.
Okay, no, it's not that I will say what I know, Freddie, but there's a huge cover-up. Okay, I'm not scared, but to understand that is so much deeper than me saying it's a huge cover-up. There is a huge cover-up.
Okay, and?
Ask me whatever you want. I'm here. I can only tell you what I know. I'm not part of the cover-up, so.
That's like the guy that was in studio from Area 51, and the next day he disappeared. It could have been him disappearing because he moved. It could have been him, whatever, but he chose to disclose what he knew that night.
So you want me to disappear after this show?
I don't think you disappear unless you believe it and you do it, and he just left.
But do you think if they walk among us, right, that means their DNA, whatever alien DNA is, and human DNA have merged, have come
yes,
together?
they have, absolutely. Because if you go back to way in time, in the beginning of what we know in history, we're not taught this part in history, but it's right there in London on tablets of what happened. They intervened with our DNA. So what they did is they gave us more, that we were able to do more things. We were just like maybe zombies, but they injected more into our DNA.
So it was injected, because people ask, obviously you have a biological mother and father, right? We all have biological humans, parents. So how did we get this extraterrestrial or spiritual DNA within us?
Well, and this is known, so if people want to do research or even listen to Ancient Aliens or whatever you want to listen to, many years ago, aliens, let's call them, came down to Earth. They wanted, at that time, from a planet called Nibiru, they wanted to find gold to keep their planet alive. So they actually came down to Earth. And this is documented, but people choose not to believe it. So they come, and there are people here, but they're not really like we are today. Their consciousness is not the same as what it was, but they wanted to have the gold mined from here to take up to their planet. But they didn't. To fast forward, they're looking around, they like Earth, and they're saying, this is great, we need to mine this gold. What they did is they saw a lot of people walking around, but they weren't talking or doing anything. They thought, great, let's see what we can do. Let's put some of this is where they intervened, our DNA into them. And it took them a long time. This happened over thousands of years, so that now they can mine the gold for them. In other words, they enslaved them. They became their slaves to put that gold into another planet. So the story goes on, and you can look it up. It is there for people to look up. That's how all this began. There's more to this story, which is going to involve a little bit more that even people that know this story may not know. There was another settlement of people here that were like us, like now, that knew a lot. But they were minding their own business in another part of what we would call our world, Earth today. At that time, and I mean, this is controversial too. I can't prove this, but this is what Aldo told me, and it makes perfect sense. They put their DNA into everybody. But if you were already developed highly and you added more DNA, you're going to come a lot more knowing, right? So that part of that story that is not as known, but I'm sure it's documented somewhere, and that's what happened. So there are people here with more knowing even today, because this happened thousands and thousands of years ago, but they didn't lose that. So the more you add to your DNA, the more you're discovering much more. I mean, it's like raising a vibration.
Then everyone would have some of this DNA. Like, so, right, if you have it, then you
but
buy
some
someone...
more than others. That's basically what I'm saying. Because we all have DNA, but there's some people that it's just, they're not bothered. That's
think
okay.
it's part
We're
of the
only
bloodline
using
too?
it's part of the bloodline. Part of the bloodline is the ones that were given more of the DNA. We can talk more about that. But when Aldo first told me all this, I didn't. He said, when you go back to London, go into the History Museum there, you'll see the clay tablets where they talked about this story. Zachariah Sitchin, who I believe Russ has mentioned many times, he's very good to read. I'm doing drawings from that time. I've never seen this. I knew nothing about this. But my validation for myself is that I'm drawing signs and symbols of things I've never seen. Why and how am I able to do that?
So do you think, we go biblically, we go back to the pyramids in Egypt,
Right.
So you're talking the Bible, the pyramids, everyone believes in this Bible, Moses, all of this. How could human hands, even with a pulley system, not only have built them as pristine, but apparently the alignment with the stars, right?
course.
The three tops are in alignment.
It cannot be duplicated right now,
because
even without technology.
During that period of time, they were very much more advanced than we are.
But how we're so biblically, it's entrenched that the Jewish people were enslaved and they built them. Were they maintaining them?
No, they had them. They had the technology to them, but we just don't want to open our eyes. Not necessarily what's in the Bible. A lot of the Bible is factual, but there's a different take on that. I actually listened to the Bible many years ago when Aldo was alive, and I said, when you think the story of this is controversial. Who was swallowed by a whale?
Jonah.
Jonah was swallowed by a whale. Well, okay, I'm going to say it was a spaceship, and he went into the spaceship. There's another way of looking at anything. The Battle of Jericho stands out very much in my mind, and the walls came tumbling down. Very controversial. I can't prove any of this. This is just what I've heard. So I'm not going to spread the word that this is true because I don't know. But they had technology inside that. So the technology at that point could then put the buildings down. I don't know. I never really studied the Bible. So anybody that's religious, I'm sure they're not listening to the show anyway. So
They might be.
they might be. And that's a good thing. I'm not here to change anybody's mind. I just want to make that clear. I can only tell you the facts that I've heard and what has happened to me. I can only pass on what's happened to me. Don't have to believe it. It's okay. But at least I'm saying, as you said, with no fear, that this is what's happened to me.
And what about underworld life, sea life?
Oh,
Aliens just of the sea?
they're underneath us too. There's a whole big world under there. But I'm not the only one coming out with that now. If you go onto Netflix, they'll tell you they're under the sea. There were submarines. Jonah and the whale. They came up.
Moby
He
Dick.
got into it.
Well, the other thing is that they are saying certain mammals. You know, a mammal has certain characteristics. We talked about that this morning. And the whale is a mammal. And the dolphin is a mammal. So I read somewhere where that whole thing did not work out. And then they decided to take a mammal out of the sea and create a human. And that's why the DNA controversy is intact. That's why our tears are salty. That's why there are certain things that we have in our bodies, which is from the oceans. Yet our atmosphere is 80% nitrogen, and we don't absorb nitrogen. There's so many different controversies, things that are happening at the same time, that there is no explanation for it. And then religion took over. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have an explanation for something, then religion is you have to have faith. There's something bigger than you created it. All in. It could be God, Jesus, the whole nine, David, whatever, Muhammad, whatever. But the object of the game is that there is something, obviously, that was smarter, bigger than us as we stand now. There begins the story. Now, maybe the earth was washed in volcanic ash and it started all over again. I don't know. But you have to dig down 30 feet before you find, like they just did in, I think it's Dubai, and they found pottery that goes down millions and millions and millions of years ago.
To classify, from what I know from Aldo, there was a great flood. Absolutely, there was a great flood.
Could be that.
But there were many, they were here already. So what they did is they knew what to do. The people that we're talking about were here. They either went up into space so that they didn't get flooded, or they went underground. And that, I think, is pretty well also, I believe it's...
Well, the great floods are water. And water, if it evaporates, it still stays in the earth. So the glaciers, I hear, that if they melt, we would have the great flood all over again.
Well, yes, but there wasn't just one ark, so to speak. There were many of people that did so.
But how is it that the great flood came about, is the question.
Because they had, similar to what's happening now, Atlantis. We hear about Atlantis. Atlantis blew itself up. We're on that track, Freddie. That's why people like myself, you, giving me the platform here that I'm talking about it, and Dawn. We have some way, and like, don't hide, you're right, because we have some obligation to do whatever we can to save this planet. And if I pass this on to the next generation and they continue, as Aldo told me to do so, then I will do I have no fear that no one's gonna, I don't know, but I don't believe anyone's gonna come after me for saying this because it's just my theory. But I have understood a lot over these last 19, 20 years. Why? I think for this very reason.
The different DNAs.
Well, there is, because we have a different DNA, okay? Whether you believe, I'm not special. I'm really not. I'm not here to say I am. But I'm able
they
to
picked
absorb
you.
this. Well,
So
they have
maybe
picked a lot more other people.
But time
like me.
out. You can't speak about what other people feel and say. You can only speak about yourself. So
That's
if
true.
they picked you, then you're the one that has to deliver the message.
Well, I'm doing the best I can, Freddie.
Okay.
And Dawn knows that too. So whatever you want to ask me, I will answer to the best of my
I
ability.
ask, why do they hide?
They hide. Why do the aliens hide? They're not hiding. They're trying to show themselves to us.
Well, tell them to come down here. I want to see them in the studio.
They may have walked in here already, but you didn't recognize them, right? They are out there. They are walking amongst
We're back
us.
to that again.
They
So do
are
you think
walking.
the gifts of spiritual healers, psychics, mediums, you're more connected to the aliens?
Well, I think they go hand in hand, truthfully. Someone said that to me, but your show may be about psychics, but why are you talking about aliens? But you have to have an open mind. With that open mind comes a lot of different ways of thinking. Why would there not be healers? You're an empath. I'm an empath. How did that happen? I believe that I feel other people, but I also am very, very interested in aliens.
Is an empath an alien?
Huh?
Is an empath an alien?
As an empath, well, there's many different empaths. Yes, I'm sure they're empathic. Of course they are. They know what we're doing. They sense
No,
it.
is an empath an alien? Not an alien, an empath.
It goes hand in hand.
It
I think,
doesn't?
because their spirituality.
You
is-
don't know if an alien is an empath?
Because if they're coming, it's the same as here. I can't tell you that every alien is spiritual. They're just on a different planet.
Correct. You can't tell me an alien is anything.
Well,
But can
I
an
can tell you what I know.
empath be an alien?
Of course. Yes, of course.
So then there lies the difference. You can't tell me an alien is an empath. Because we don't know any aliens to be empaths.
Yeah, we do.
Okay,
No,
so
we know
I don't have fingerprints.
Yeah.
I was just saying we do.
Right. I was discussing Disney World last night with some friends, and they said all the kids went through and they all have fingerprints. And Disney World knows if you have this finger to be scanned and you put in this finger, they know you've done something wrong. Humans have fingerprints. Biologically, I'm human, but yet I have no fingerprints to go to Disney World or to rent a locker or any of these things. Empath? Yes. Does that make me an
Yeah, but
They
your
welcome-
hands were also surgically.
No, only 2 fingers.
Well, you don't know that. That's what
No,
you were told.
But Dawn has. I'm
a
going
whole
to
other
call it.
level.
I'm not going to say advanced because it makes us special, okay? But you have a certain type of DNA. Otherwise, you wouldn't be sitting here even asking me the questions, and I wouldn't be able to answer them. Not everybody, and it doesn't make you more or less anything, but it just has that you have the capability. That's all it is, of learning and understanding, knowing, not knowledge, knowing, and that's a very big difference. You also do, Freddie. We're sitting in this studio having this conversation. Someone else would say that has not advanced as much as we have because we've chosen to. I don't want to hear any of that. But you're not, because you're asking questions. You do, like I ask questions, like you do. This is part of.
I want you to take it to the next level.
I
I
will.
think that you have stopped taking it to the next level.
No.
I think you stopped looking.
No,
Yeah.
I'm continually looking. I'm continually
we're gonna
learning.
test that.
Well, what if people want to
Please.
look and they want to see? How can they get in touch with that inner core? Or is there meditation? Is
Well,
there
you
a-
can meditate. I have no choice because I go all over the place at night. I meet people. I know what's happening. And this show has helped me tremendously because I'm bringing in everybody. So I have never stopped learning. I may stop maybe to choose to not talk about certain things, but that's fine. I am open now, completely, absolutely open. So anybody that has an interest, even listening to this show, to have gotten this far, they have an interest.
We got to go to her house and put all these gizmos on her and watch her disappear.
You travel though. You've had experiences with.
Of course he has.
And you've come in talking to
No,
Sally
she
about it.
tells me I did.
Well, why can I
never
bring it
said
up?
that.
You see,
I
I
never said that. She said I did.
no.
You were abducted.
Freddie, we
maybe.
had a very similar experience.
And
I
we're back
told
to
you-
this again.
Yeah, because it's important. Why are you being so secretive about
I'm
it?
not.
I'm open.
I had something happen to me one night. You told me the same thing happened to you. That was a coincidence.
How could possibly, can I say being paralyzed and someone saw us at basically the same time?
There's a name for it. It's called sleep
Paralysis.
paralysis.
But you're also somewhere else because you've got to get back into your body. I couldn't talk when I came to. I was woken up, so I was still paralyzed.
Do you remember when you were sleep paralyzed, for lack of a better word? Do you remember what you were thinking about?
I was calling out for help, which is very unusual.
So was I.
There you go. And I have had never.
But do you remember why?
Well, I was walking down some sort of a corridor or something. I felt like something was going to attack me or something. And I'm screaming, help me, help me. Which Steve, we both had validation, came in and tried to wake me up. I couldn't talk. I'm going like this. So he needed, it might be for the partner that you're with, maybe needed to see that so they believe what's going on.
I don't think that at
Did
all.
your partner need to see that?
I just
I
had to-
was with my mother,
Okay.
and she was in her grave.
Did you speak? You were speaking to her?
Yes, and she
Okay.
wanted me to lie down, and I was looking up, and I said no,
Why did you call help though? Same as I did.
because she didn't want me to leave.
Okay, we may have had, I don't remember my whole thing. I knew I was walking along a corridor, but I needed to call out help.
There was a corridor, there was a light above me that I had to get to, but I had arms around me holding me back.
Well, I had something. I don't actually remember the whole experience.
Oh,
but
I do, like it was
well, no,
yesterday.
I remember this, but then he wakes me up in the middle of it. I'm in the middle of going
She
somewhere.
woke me up, Linda woke me up too. Well, I sounded
How-
like a girl, and he...
Okay, so Freddie, just sitting here, Dawn is a witness to this because when I told you the story, she said to go and
Call
tell
a
Freddie.
nightmare.
We both have the same nightmare where we're paralyzed.
I don't think you dreamt about your mother.
I don't, because I never got to the end of this. Steve woke me up and I'm still paralyzed. Maybe I was going to see my mother at the
It
end.
happened again a couple of weeks later.
I had it happen again too. I don't even
Well,
want to know
maybe
that.
you're creating it.
No, I'm not.
It's funny. Now, if I hit the switch in the hallway, it turns off the TVs in here. I've been here 5 years. That's never happened.
So I suggest you don't hit the switch.
Did you know that?
Yes.
Dawn
When
knows
did you
a
discover
lot.
that? When did
Yes
you?
and no, it happens.
It don't happen now. It only happened then.
It would happen now. It would turn everything off if you turned it off. Just if you unplugged any other TV because they're on a
In
circuit.
the hallway.
It's the same circuit.
Impossible.
Do you know how much is going on in this small little studio here? It's
Do
beyond
you know
our...
that they are about to change the third dimension in here, and they have no clue?
I know, that's changing. I know that. We're heading to the fifth dimension.
I don't know about the fifth, but they're about
No,
to change
that's the
everything.
fourth is what we're doing. And then the ones that are meant to be going to the fifth, that's another show, but I'll talk about that too.
Okay.
It's not necessarily about aliens, but it is because they're helping us too. There are many reasons they want us to.
Aliens is another word
For us.
for knowledge,
For knowledge.
for growth. If you were to look and define something, like how do you define growth?
By knowing, by knowledge, by understanding.
And I define it by aliens.
Because they have a more superior knowing and knowledge than us.
But do you see how quickly you jump to the assumption that they are above?
Well, no, I didn't mean above.
Well, you just described it.
Well, because it's my way of saying they're higher
Yes,
than what
but
I know.
this is what I mean. If
Yeah.
I use the word alien, to me, it's the same word as growth, as acknowledgement to growth.
It is, absolutely.
Because we don't have an explanation for it.
But if you're in tune with that, there's an amazing amount that you're going to understand and hear and know. Amazing technology that they are giving to certain people. They're not giving me the technology.
Well,
I have
apparently
problems
they
getting
have.
into. Well, I don't know it because I sometimes can't even.
I think
use
you
the-
do know it.
Well, I probably do, but I'm
I
not
think you're in
using it.
denial.
No, I do know it. I do know it.
No, she
but
knows
I
it.
don't know the advanced technology they're giving us. I know what we've been given because I chose to learn how to use a computer and how to do all these things. When I first started out, I couldn't do that. I was mentioning that the other day. What do they call it? A fish, whatever they called. You remember, it wasn't a computer. I went into real estate and said, I can never go into real estate. I don't even know how to work this machine.
Microfiche?
Microfiche, yes. Fish. But I said, forget it. I walked out of the office.
Microfiche is film.
No, there's well, this is going back a long time.
Remember
I'm
we
old.
used to turn it? And see
No,
it on
you
the
put in a
screen?
slide or something. I don't
You
remember.
turned the wheel. It's
But all right,
microfiche.
so let's take that and look where we are today.
So what do you think is coming next and when?
Well, there will be disclosure. I can't tell
What
you when.
does that mean? You and Russ
Okay.
use that word.
Okay.
I don't know what it means.
Disclosure is seeing these people and giving them a chance to talk to us, to understand.
Well, how
that
do you
they-
know we haven't seen them already?
Well, we have, but for people to have the understanding that they exist. That's what true disclosure will be, not top secret. This is not top secret.
Gotcha.
So if they come and they tell us the moon is not real, it's actually a spaceship.
It's actually man-made. Do you want to go into that too? I won't do that. That's another
Yeah, I
show.
heard about that. That one I don't buy.
Yes, no, it's true. Because, well, I won't go into that now, but
It's supposed to be a secret base, but I'm not.
It
buying
is.
it. I'm not buying that.
there's two sides to the moon, like there is of Mars.
There's two sides to every woman too. So what? When we make that
So
up too?
that was copied in our image. There's two sides to the moon. But that's
that one,
another
I,
story.
that one I don't buy.
But gradually you will. I didn't believe any of this in the very beginning. I thought this is way out. But over the years, and having had Aldo talk to me for 18 years, I began to open up completely, and everything comes flooding
What did
back.
you do before you met Aldo?
What did I do? I was in real estate.
And what did you learn while you were in real estate and you didn't meet Aldo yet?
Well, I didn't open up. I didn't know
You
I
didn't
knew.
open up what? Did you have any?
Oh, I had interest in psychics. I was because I was psychic myself.
Were you taken away by an alien before you met Aldo?
Not as far as I know, no.
Not as far as you can remember.
Not as far as I can remember, because I didn't have that open mind. I only started to get that.
You didn't have an
mind.
open mind, or you don't know if you were abducted?
I have no stories before that happened. I only know what I remember now. Possibly, yes. I probably might have been abducted since a child, but I can't talk about something I don't remember. I
But
documented.
you do remember after Aldo being
Of
abducted?
course, yes, because I'm becoming more aware, and I can
It
tell
wasn't
you.
that Aldo told you were abducted, you just remembered.
He didn't tell me I was. In fact, he never told me I was abducted.
So
He
where
told-
did you come up with the notion
Because
you were?
if you read my book, and I had read my book and I was writing it, I'm in spaceships. I talk about the spaceships. I
Were
can
you
see-
riding in spaceships?
Yeah, a lot of this is my travels to other planets. It's only now when I was sufficiently able to even understand what had happened to me. I can tell you in detail 20 years ago where I was. That
When you
can't
wrote it?
Where I was, and some things I haven't even put in there.
Was this before Aldo?
No, I started writing the book. But
After Aldo?
After, at the time Aldo was around at that point, yes.
Does he
Because
have
came-
any influence in that book?
Yeah, it's dedicated to him. Absolutely.
Does he have any
Yes,
influence?
on my drawings, he interprets each one of these drawings
Did he
for me.
draw those drawings?
No, I did, but he went into a room for hours. This is really valuable for people that are beginning to open
He went
up.
into the room for hours and what?
And interpreted my drawings, interpretation of drawing 7. It gives you
But
the
you
whole...
drew it before you knew him.
No, I drew it while he was around, but he didn't know what I was drawing. When I showed him, he went into interpreting.
Does he have any influence on those drawings?
He understood them. That's the
Or is there a meaning in the drawings?
100% interpretation of each one of my drawings. I did many more.
So Aldo has an interpretation to each one of those
Each
drawings.
one, and many more, because I drew in the beginning. I was drawing things from other lifetimes.
So we should take all the drawings, and every show you should put one up
Okay,
and
that's
give
fine.
the
with
definition of what
interpretation.
Aldo was explaining.
Well, this is only a small amount, but he did about 10 in here, or maybe more.
Yeah, I'll start with 10.
Yeah, absolutely. There's an interpretation.
See, like
of-
that one. What is the interpretation of that?
Okay, this is a small one too. This woman is from Nehag, otherwise known as Niti, the Lady of Life in the Sumerian. She helped create the first man, the Alpha, a hybrid blend of Anunnaki and human DNA. I am getting goosebumps. Known also as Adam, and more of the Anunnaki follows later in this chapter.
So show the audience. So I just want to know, why did you draw that?
Don't know. I don't know
What do
why
you
I
don't
drew.
know?
I
Don't
don't
know
know.
is not an answer.
Was
I
it,
did
you
it
wake
because
up
it's
one night?
coming from me. Absolutely. I
in the
woke
middle of
up
the night?
completely a different person. No, I was in some sort of a trance. All these poems that I write,
Not the poems. The poems I can't work with. I
but
can
I
work
worked
with the drawing.
this for years.
Stick with the lady at hand.
Freddie, I
What's
did this
the
for
me-
years. I did this for years.
Anilaki lady.
Anunnaki.
Yes. Why
You know,
did you draw her? What is the message?
Because I remembered
You saw her?
subconsciously. This is really important, and we'll do this next time. But I started to draw things that I didn't know what I was drawing. It was like automatic writing that I did. I'm drawing from other lifetimes. Aldo's watching me. He never did anything. He just watched and knew what I was doing. When I would show him some of these, he would explain exactly in
Right.
detail.
I'm looking for that explanation to
That's-
that drawing.
well, it's all here.
Not
I'm
that
letting-
one, the one that you just showed me.
Well, that's just
The lady.
one. Okay.
I don't want to do another one. I want to do the
Okay,
lady.
I can't tell you any more than
What is his explanation?
She just read it.
I just read it.
No.
I said it.
Is
see,
that,
read.
did he write that or did you write that?
he wrote every interpretation here.
Oh, he wrote that.
Yes, I never wrote
That's
any
what
of
I
this.
asked him. That's his interpretation. of what he-
Absolutely, and then
so she
here
drew it and he
interpretation-
wrote it.
And these are my beginning drawings. I didn't know what I was doing. I drew it. He took it and interpreted many more too. But unfortunately, I don't have a lot
Okay.
of them.
Now we're cooking
So
with
you
gas.
understand, right?
Yes, that's today's lesson, boys.
Boy,
and girls.
I'm going to go home and go to sleep.
But maybe what you're missing here is that you have the answer, but you're not expressing it
Well,
clearly
I need
enough
someone
to
like
see it.
you, which you're doing a fantastic job of pulling it out of me, because I have so many stories. I can go into each one in detail if you want me to, but I have to, and Dawn too, the questions. I think Dawn follows me pretty much what I'm
Oh,
saying.
here's a fairy.
Did I do
No,
it fair?
that's for next week. We only do one a show. Lord have
You
mercy.
too can get all of Sally's books right here. Call me Zena. Scan the QR code right on the bottom of your screen. You can purchase the book directly. Actually, they could follow along every week as we talk about
Yeah,
each
absolutely.
picture.
Yes, absolutely.
And each picture was going to be the lesson of the day. Like that one with the lady is tremendous. You
But I have
just,
more with more detail even.
but that's what I want. I want to
have them in
understand
here. I have
what
it
it
in-
means, why he wrote it at the time that he wrote it. What does it mean today?
See, he was very advanced. So I didn't know that I had this all inside of me. I had all this and it came out on paper, because how do you explain signs and symbols from previous lifetimes? I didn't know what I was drawing. It's in my memory. It's in my memory. So let's leave it there and we'll discuss it more next week.
Boy, you know,
I need to go home to go to
She
sleep.
needs a nap.
Get-
she doesn't need a nap. You have the key to the lock,
I do.
but you don't use the key.
I have to have a platform, and you are definitely the one to go.
Well, we're gonna do one picture a week. We're going to start with the one today because I want to get deep into that.
Okay. Well, again, I can do it now because I can channel, and in fact, Aldo's
We're going
probably
to do it
talking
next
to
week.
me.
when we do
Okay,
it.
we can pick
Aldo,
one.
we'll be right back, buddy.
Aldo will be back next week. He knows that. Stay around. Hang in there. I'm doing the best I can. Okay. Not easy. Not easy. Yeah, Freddie. Yeah, I know that about Freddie. Okay. I guess
wrap
we're
it up?
wrapping it up. Yes. Bye-bye, everybody. I'll see you this time next week. I still have my sanity. You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Barnard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you can always seek me out for resources by visiting artbysallybarnard.com. Join us next week, Mondays at 2:30. Have a blessed day.